sponsored by War Thunder. This is the hardest AI in Hoi4. This is how much I played it, and this is Big Chungus. No relation. A lot of people are saying that after watching my hardcore challenges, the game becomes too easy for them. So in the spirit of making all Hoi4 players touch grass, I'm using my vitamin D deficiency to show you the most broken paths and strategies on each major nation in the game. And this time, the rules are simple, no meme strats and no space marines. We are doing this purely historical, where the only way we can win is through pure meta skills and min-maxing, and even a secret special mechanic I've never shown before. The mod has multiple difficulty options. We're obviously doing the hardest, using Super France that gives them over 300 factories before the war, not recommended. Plus mass assault infantry for the Soviets, which even the developer has confirmed is the hardest option for them. Trust me, this mod ain't easy peasy. The allies will have more armored and mechanized divisions than you can count. I can only count on my fingers up to 10, but you get the point. And they're using meta heavy tank divisions you never seen vanilla AI do. And you know what? Since the mod makes friendly AI smarter as well, we're not using any of their help either. But let's begin. For the research, we want to start off with scaling our industry. We want big factories and big production. The empty slot we used to juggle to get engineering faster, and contrary to what a lot of people think, disregarding civilian factories to build military factories can be very lucrative, especially as the Germans, because the big thing with the Germans is that we have amazing military factory construction speed, and this only gets bigger with our advisors, focuses and organization taught. And remember, early mills are always better than late mills, because that mill in 37 is going to be building up efficiency and producing equipment all that time, compared, for example, a mill in 1939. We're going to get all the civs we need from annexing our friends like Austria and Czechoslovakia, and maybe even some more. No spoilers though. The only reason you would build civs is if you weren't doing early Anschluss, and because of this focus right here. Where are you? Yeah, right here. To get the extra research slot, you need at least 50 civilian factories. But we're doing early Anschluss anyway, so it doesn't matter. You really want to build in these two tiles right here, because they have a dam, giving us an extra 15% construction speed and max factories in the state. Rhineland as well, but they're gonna get their dam through the focus right here. Since we're focusing a lot of our construction into this area, it's good to build infrastructure as well. That's going to give us even extra construction speed and then straight to mills. Now this strategy isn't viable for every country. We're just doing this because of Germany's special situation. But we have a small problem. To do early Anschluss, we're gonna need to have an army 24 times bigger than Austria. And you can't exploit this just with spamming empty divisions. This focus counts the amount of fully equipped battalions. Since it's really hard to control how equipped a full and big division is, we're gonna create a template with only one dude in it. But we are building just the right amount of guns for our divisions. So by the time our last dudes get their guns, they won't have enough time to train and deploy. To get around this problem, we're gonna create another template with only 2 battalions in it, that we're then gonna convert our 1 battalion dudes into after they're deployed. This way, we're bottlenecked by our reinforce rate and not by training time. We're gonna need 22 factories and guns to make this happen. To get enough, we're gonna delete all the funky business like artillery and the horrible planes we're producing. We'll finish building the ships that are already halfway done, but we can't really invest more into ships after that. Make sure to train the Navy. This gives us naval XP that we can later use for our naval doctrine or marine doctrine. This is how it's gonna look like in the end. All the existing production lines already start off with max efficiency, which is very nice. Rushing our industry is going to boost that even more with our extra factory output and efficiency cap. This is also very good for efficiency growth because it's influenced by the gap between your current efficiency and max efficiency, making it very good for new production lines. But the first focus is basically always going to be remilitarize the Rhineland, even if you're not doing early Anschluss, because of these 2 dudes right here. Now you might think, this dude's better. He gets army experience and he has a cool focus tree. No, because war support has entered the chat. This 5% is exactly what we need to get war economy basically at the start of the game. Plus, this is the historical tree. We're gonna go Rhineland, Wehrmacht, and then Anschluss as well. Germany starts off with a land warfare facility, letting us research special projects for our ground forces. Now, we want both the military engineering vehicle and the flamethrower tank, but the flamethrower tank has an event that might give us an extra army XP. So we're gonna take flamethrower tank first. As Germany, we want to do collaboration government spy missions on Poland, France, Norway, Benelux, and the Soviets, of course. This gives us extra compliance, and extra compliance means more factories, more manpower, and more resources. So I'm gonna start doing our spy agency immediately, because these are gonna take some time. Once the agency is done, we want to take suicide pills as our first upgrade. This lowers our operatives' detection chance, and if they do get captured, they have a higher likelihood to just die. After that, we just want to get 5 upgrades done. Passive defense, invisible ink, interrogation techniques, it doesn't really matter. It's just that after 5 upgrades, you get an extra operative slot. But Tifi, how does one juggle. Well, to juggle like a true clown, we're gonna take electronics and put it on something else. For example, here we want armor, but here we have another huge topic. Military industrial organizations. The Henschel infantry tanks designer gives us the best stats for our tanks, but the Daimler-Benz production one gives us the best production buffs on the production line. So we want to grind funds for both. The way you get funds is by researching with it or putting it on a production line. And the way it works out for us is we want to research with the Henschel one. But to finish the juggle, we just put the electronics on the empty slot now, and big bonus. The Rhineland focus gives us political power, also known as the BP, which we're going to use on the MIFO builds architect that gives us less consumer goods. This determines the amount of factories not building shit. I guess the civilians need food or something, I don't know. And military factory construction speed. What did I tell you? Fuck them civs, we need more bullets. We're gonna early deploy these dudes whenever we can, because their training doesn't matter for this at all. A bunch of untrained 16-year-olds with guns. And then we're gonna we're gonna convert these dudes into the Forwets with 2 battalions, so they can start getting their guns. Now we're just waiting for the guns to arrive. Should be fine. When we recruit our first spy, we're gonna put him on France building an intel network. Once that gets to 50%, we can do our first collab. And gentlemen, we got it. We had to wait 7 days to get enough guns out, but luckily the focus picker has a 10-day buffer, so all well that ends well. Now we just need to ask the Austrians to join us. We're gonna spend our PP on taking war economy for more military factory construction speed and less food for our civilians, naturally. We don't need this many guns producing anymore, so we're gonna put this to 10. Plus these are gun ones which are pretty bad. What we really want is a donk. But first we gotta press the buttons. Yeah, the buttons. What buttons? The buttons down below to get you free bonuses for War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, available for free on all platforms. 2,500 vehicles from 10 different countries, epic PvP battles with a global community of 70 million players. In War Thunder, each tank crew member gets their own personal shrapnel. With War Thunder's realistic modeling, you can shoot down engines, fuel tanks, weapons, and more. Hey, that's just like real life. Same goes for all the different armor types, shells, and missiles that all behave like their real life counterparts. You have small boom, you have big boom, you have big boom. And the X-ray camera lets you see exactly how, why, and what got cooked. Chat, can we get 5 big booms? You can even spend hours customizing your tank and meticulously blending every little detail. Ooh, I can put a little fella on here. And remember, it's free, it's everywhere, and it's coming for you. Play War Thunder now on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile, using my links down below. New and returning players who haven't played in 6 months will receive the biggest bonus pack for both PC and console. That includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100k Silverland doubloons, and 7 days of premium account. Available for a limited time only, so press the buttons. Alright, where did we leave off? Oh yeah, how do you build a good tank in 1936? We have no guns, no armor, no maidens. What do we do? One word: conversion. We're gonna build a base tank with the cheapest gun possible, that is the heavy machine gun, and we're then gonna retrofit on the good cannon once we research it. Same for the radio, so we're gonna remove that. For the heavy tanks that we're gonna use against the allies, we want to prioritize hard attack and put on 3 small cannons, while for the medium tanks against the Soviet infantry, we want to prioritize soft attack, so we're gonna put on heavy machine guns and additional machine guns. But we don't have enough army XP to do a second design for the medium tanks, so for now it's only gonna be heavy tanks. Christie suspension because it is more efficient than doing engine ticks, diesel engine for some extra reliability, and stack up the armor to 4 ticks. Even though it's the max right now, even if you could go over that, you wouldn't, because adding more than 4 armor ticks increases the steel cost of a tank, so it's not worth it. Only later when we're converting are we gonna add more armor ticks here. Once we add the guns and armor though, our reliability is gonna tank, which you know, fuck reliability. All my homies rate reliability. Reliability only matters when you're attritioning, so if you're not stupid, you don't have to worry about it. So you should probably worry about it. But let's move on. Too much tank talk. We actually want to have 3 tanks, a tank destroyer base, a medium tank base, and an armor meme base. I'm gonna put them on screen for ease of viewing, but we're gonna come back to those later. The armor memes we want because just putting one of these bad boys into a division increases their armor massively. The heavy tank is gonna have the infantry tanks designer on the production line. Later on, we're gonna use the heavy gantry grains policy on the Daimler-Benz MIO, which allows us to use it on heavy tanks as well. 12-15 factories producing from 1936 is already going to be enough heavy tanks for the allies for when the war starts, but for the medium tanks, we're going to have to put a lot more factories on that. But Tiffy, why don't you go for the mass mode mountaineer battle plan build with Prussian legacy and good air? Shut the fuck up, because that is boring, and then I couldn't show you all the cool shit I'm showing you. To take advantage of early efficiency, we're also going to put a factory on anti-air and trains as well. Actually 2 on anti-air, 2 on trains, should be good. And now we wait to annex the Austrians, liberate the Austrians. They help them out from their They want to join us, okay? They want to join us, okay? With electronics done, we're not going to put anything into this slot because we want to juggle it into construction, but we are going to switch armor into the next research B technology. We have no use for the armor right now anyway. We need to poop out some more divisions to send the maximum amount of volunteers to Spain. Here, the only thing that matters is the division count, so we can just put in all the 2 widths here. With all the buffs we have right now, it takes us only 30 days to build a military factory. This is gonna be the last juggle we do, and this time we're finishing the armor research. We're overflowing with mills, so we can now do our medium tank chassis. It's gonna be quite similar to the heavy tank chassis, except this time we're putting in 2 heavy machine guns and 1 additional machine gun to maximize our soft attack per cost. Also putting on the Daimler-Benz MIO for that -3% production cost. The negative stats don't matter because we're gonna convert these dudes anyway. To grind the MIO, we're also putting it on the production line. You get 0.1 funds per production per day. And once we level up the MIO, it's also gonna give good production bonuses. 40 factories for now. Oh yeah. Now, annexing Austria doesn't just give us industry, it also gives us Eugen. He's gonna be really important later when we try to stack as much special forces attack for a special forces tanks. Remember, Amtracks count as special forces. But before we go down the industry tree, we want to rush down to Todt. Todt is bold. And no, that's not relevant to anything, but once we get him, he's gonna start doing his own focuses, taking him 140 days to finish, giving us organization thought that gives us extra military factory construction speed. Führerprinzip also is quite nice. We have a couple more free civs now, but I don't want to build in Rhineland because we don't have the dam yet, nor Moselland because we have to build infrastructure here first, and for these high slot tiles we want to stack as many bonuses as we can, which is where Reichslabor Initiative comes in. This lets us add construction speed to different areas in Germany. The next PP pick is going to be the Chief of Army, letting us stack army experience from early on in the game. This allows us to get all of our doctrines and spirits done in time. Since we're going to be doing everything ourselves and our allies won't be helping us out with infantry, we're going to need to take all the production bonuses on our MIOs. When basic machine tools is done, we're going to take concentrated industry. Dispersed industry is better if you want to switch production lines, but overall, if you play smart, concentrated has the better factory output. Most of the production lines we are switching are going to be the types that retain most of their efficiency anyway. For example, switching a tank with the same chassis but a different design retains 90% of efficiency. Next up, I'm going to take the airformer for the XP since we are doing our own air. Operative slots would be good as well since we have to do a lot of collabs, but for now I'm going to take the air one. Armor is done, we're going to take the improved machine tools. Rushing more efficiency cap is really important for your production. It's the best modifier you can get. The Henschel designer is the one that gives our tanks amazing stats. I'm going to queue them up with shift click so you know which one to take. The only real option here is hard attack versus soft attack. Since our main enemy is the Soviets, soft attack would be better, but hard attack is also really good against the allies and their heavy tanks. But I think we can pull through with that, and I'm gonna take the soft attack. After we get 5 upgrades, I'm not gonna do anything else to save some civs. A thing you could do is form departments so you can start decrypting your enemy's ciphers. But remember, you never want to do any encryption upgrade just for the sake of it. This just gives your enemies more time to decrypt you. Only upgrade your encryption before important wars and battles. This makes sure that your enemies won't have you decrypted. Once the spy network is at 50%, we prepare a collaboration government and get to work in convincing the French that surrendering is good. We want to see what's going on in different countries, so we're gonna build a plane. It looks at things from the air. Recon planes flying over a country give you army intel, which gives you knowledge. And some combat bonuses as well. 1 factory at the start of the game is enough. Let's put our heavy armor tank into production as well. We're gonna need the welded armor for this, normal 3-man turret because we want to use this with our medium tanks with howitzers, and remove all the small cannons and put in sloped armor. 8 factories. After construction 1, we go for construction 2. We want to save the industry bonuses we get from the 4-year plan and Autarku on Tools 3 and Concentrated 3. Make sure you set your operations to high priority so they don't get bogged down by a slow reinforcement rate. But Todt is gonna start cooking by himself now, so now we have the options for our industry tree. The historical 4-year plan is better for early game, while prioritized economic growth outscales 4-year plan by the late game. To not get our shit kicked in by super friends, we're gonna go for 4-year plan. The only time where left side is better is in multiplayer games with certain rule sets, and in those kind of games it's usually banned anyway. We also have to wait here 175 days before taking any of the other dudes. We wanna save up PP for these price control decisions. These lower our consumer goods, and we wanna take these all at once immediately. You wanna wait before you build in these tiles because they're gonna get max infrastructure from a focus here anyway. Strap in boys, you're going to die for Spain. But we don't want to just send our men to die here for army XP. We also want to license some helicopters that the Spanish start with. Probably didn't know that, huh? Helicopters can be really good as a support company, but don't be fooled because, for example, the helicopter medevac is worse than the normal field hospital. It gives less HP and experience slots protection, which are the things that really matter. What we want is the normal helicopter brigade that combines the effects from both logistics and field hospital and still lets you put all three of them into one division. We get the good stuff with even more good stuff. A few factories on those licensed helicopters and we will have enough for the whole game. This is really how you should be thinking about production in Hoi4, is putting in at least a few factories on something very early on, letting it build up efficiency and produce equipment all those years. The tech difference is a bit too big right now, so we need to improve relations before we can license. But keep in mind, this isn't like a game changer. If you didn't do this, it wouldn't matter that much. It's just like an option we have later on. Italy wants to join the faction, we can let them join. But we're not gonna call them into war once the war starts. Now we wanna grind our generals in the Spanish Civil War, which can be a bit complicated, so the simple rundown is 1. Send the maximum amount of troops, which for us is 7. 2. Make them into big and fat 36 widths. And 3. Big chungus. We're gonna use Fedor von Bock and Günther von Kluge as the generals we're gonna grind. Different traits have different requirements. For example, Panzer Leader requires for your army to be at least 40% tank divisions, and Engineer requires for you to fight over rivers. These are the traits we want to max out the bonuses for our tank divisions, and the Engineer we want so I can show you how to bust straight through the Maginot line. I'm gonna build some factories in Oberbayern and Niederösterreich because they have high infrastructure, and also construct maximum infrastructure in Moselland. After 4-year plan, we go down to autark efforts, which locks us into the autark economy, which isn't that good, but we'll live with it. If you put the garrison order into an area your general can't reach, he will actually think he's planning something and learn the organizer trait. A funny thing that can happen when your enemy builds low-level forts and doesn't go all the way is that because you get so many bonuses to fort attack with tanks and these general bonuses, that it's actually easier to attack a fort than a normal tile. Don't forget the amazing button that makes your troops faster, that's called strategic redeployment. They take the special general medicine and they run really fast, but they have no organization, so they're running around like headless chickens, so they have to calm down before they can attack. But yeah, it makes them faster. We could wait to save our PP to take all the MIFO builds decisions immediately, or we could take an operative slot so we can do more collabs. Ooh, I'm improving relations. That's my bad. A little bit too much. But we have enough now so we can license the helicopters. I am gonna get the agency dude so we can get another operative. And we'll just wait a little bit more for the MIFO builds decisions. Again, you would have a little bit more PP if you didn't waste it doing too much to improve relations. But it is what it is. It's okay. And let's put our helicopter into production. As you can see with our current setup, we're getting traits on Organizer, Engineer, and Panzer Leader. Engineer because we are fighting over rivers, which we want to do in both this tile and this tile. But remember, the things to keep in mind with grinding generals is that make sure you are the only one fighting in the battle, otherwise you are sharing the XP with Spain, for example. Make sure you are fighting in favorable battles because you get up to 400% more XP depending on how much more damage you do. So 400% more damage, that means 400% more XP. And there's also things like every day there's a bit more XP gain per day, so it's good to stop and restart battles. We can take our first Spirit of the Academy, and a good one to take if you're not grinding any generals is actually political loyalty. It gives you extra stability, which gives you extra factory output, consumer goods, all nice things. But since we want to grind our generals, bold attack is really good for getting more attack stats. Once the Institute price controls is done, we're gonna go for the Reich Autobahn focus. So we now have these decisions that lesser are consumer goods, and we basically wanna click all of them. Starting off with the biggest bonuses first. Here you can see our MIFO builds are now at minus 9.5%. We're now gonna rush down to the extra research slot. We're not gonna go for the Ruhr Dam yet because we are not licensing anything from our allies, and we're not using any of our allies' help. We need to research everything ourselves. So the research slot is going to be more valuable right now. Now we can just start building in these good tiles with 100% infrastructure. We have a focus here that gives us consumer good, but it takes away some Hungary's bonuses. Oh, little baby, someone took away your construction speed. We're going to go for the radio one now, just so we don't waste the bonus we get from the focus here. And we can use it on radio too. We're now going to use some of our civs now to form the Department of Cryptology, so we can start decrypting France, Poland, Soviets and UK. Decrypting a cipher also gives you more army intel, which again gives you more attack bonus. We can use one of our bonuses on the advanced machine tools, but we don't want to use the other one on Conk 2. So to not use that bonus, we first gotta use something else to research something else again with the bonus, and then start researching Conk 2, and then turn that first research back into something else. And voila, this way we still retain the bonus for the future. I forgot to take branch independent spirits immediately. This overall gives you more air experience in the long run. After we get the research slot though, now we are going for the Ruhr Dam. Wait, no, my bad. We're gonna go for Hesse second. What we want Hesse, Goebbels and Göring eventually. Hesse allows us to get some political power, and it gives us Reich Labor Service Initiative, giving us more construction speed. Goebbels gives us a lot of stability and war support, and also party popularity, which again gives us more stability, and an operative, which is all very good things. And Göring, although Spear has more factory output, since plus 10% factory output is better than plus 5% cap growth than their base, at least the end game, but Göring has a lot more resource bonuses, so if you're going hard on planes, you're gonna need the rubber from this. But you can choose between Göring and Spear from an event, so just go Hesse first and take Göring when you get the event. The extra research slot, we're gonna research range improvements for our planes, of course with the Focke-Wulf designer, which is the best plane designer in the game, because of all the range bonuses it gives you. In multiplayer, your allies will tech rush the improved small airframe and the good modules, but since we can't do that, I'm gonna at least build some 1936 CAS. It is what it is, it's not ideal, but we have to put the production somewhere, otherwise we're gonna have too many factories doing nothing. And it's also good to grind the Focke-Wulf MIO, but switching 1936 airframes to a 1940 airframe is gonna lose us most of that efficiency on the production line, which again, not ideal. Tots has finished his organization thought, so now we can take the construction company that gives us extra military factory construction speed. Very nice. Construction 2 is finished, and we're not going to go any further here. We're going to actually go for the anti-tank research for our heavy tank guns. The best second spirited army is usually quick improvisation because it gives you more command power, which you can use on commander abilities like force attack, for example. But because we're grinding our generals a lot right now, we're going to take proper heritage for the leader experience gain. And with Hesse done, we now go for the Ruhr Dam. Okie dokie, we can now start putting up spy planes all over our enemies. France, Soviets, Poland, everyone we need army intel on. We can press D to split their wings up, so we don't have to manually do everything. They'll just start reinforcing into the air wings automatically. Let's put a little bit over Poland as well. So this mod emulates multiplayer, where your allies rush different techs for you. So for example, here we have Gun 2s, which would be amazing to put into production right now, but no bueno. We're not using any of our allies' help. Now that the Ruhr Dam is finished, we're gonna go for the military factory construction speed here and the efficiency cap here. But then we're gonna go for the Man Sudetenland and then annex Czechoslovakia. Big boost to our industry. For the Daimler-Benz MIO, we just want to get the production funds. So it's gonna be this one, and all of these in the center. With range improvements done, we can't really research air stuff right now. It's gonna take way too long. I'm not gonna bother with the ahead of time. As Germany, we need other things as well, so we can't afford it really. So I'm gonna research other things we need eventually, like for example the howitzer. The sweet Focke-Wulf MIO, the best air designer in the game because of the massive range bonuses it gives you. Stats still matter, but those are gonna come from the plane design itself. What all these range bonuses here give us is it allows us to send more planes into one tile because we can fly them from air bases further away. This allows you to dominate any air tile you want because you always have more planes than your enemy, and more planes also means more damage, since the amount of damage done is dependent on the number of planes in battle, which can be up to 3 times as many as detected enemy planes. When we have enough PP, make sure to take your next operative. These other dudes aren't that good, while operatives are always good. After our Radio 2 is done, we're actually going to let this slot stack up as well, because we want to take improved equipment conversion to convert all of our tanks and planes, because it makes it much easier, much faster, but we don't want to base the bonus on it. I'm going to design our cheap close air support now. This is basically the best we can do right now. Extra fuel tanks for more range, and let's put these bad boys into production. This is how our tanks are looking like, by the way, but we also can't put too many factories and planes right now since we don't have the rubber and we haven't built any refineries yet. We finally have enough land warfare breakthrough progress that we can take military engineer vehicles that gives us the assault engineer company. A fun thing this mod does is it makes France release all of these countries as its puppets. This allows them to do their focuses that give them more factories, and then he annexes them again or like reincorporates. This way France gets really strong, but we're not getting any of the bonuses because we're only conquering mainland. And France specifically doesn't build many factories on the mainland just to cuck our industry. The Man Sudetenland requires us to have 650k manpower fielded, so we're gonna take all of our 2-bits and convert them into bigger divisions. Japan has declared war on China, so we're gonna take advantage of this and also send volunteers to Japan. Get more XP, we get more veterans, all around good deal. But we're not gonna take it as seriously as the Spain one. Why? Because I'm tired, boss. We finally have Conk 3, we're gonna use the bonus on this one, and then we're gonna use the empty slot and use it on improved equipment conversion. Since we have a lot of extra PP right now that we don't want to use anywhere else, I'm gonna do anti-democratic raids that increases our stability, but also our party popularity, which again increases our stability again. So double bubble. And see, Fritz Todd's industrial plan questions, we can now take Hermann Göring as the Führer's right-hand man, appoint him. A bitter power struggle has broken out between rivals within Adolf Hitler's inner circle. Tensions have risen as Fritz Todd has gained influence and increased authority. Fritz Todd, Albert Speer and Hermann Göring have been vocal about each other's methods over how to best manage German industries and arms production, all the while vying for Adolf Hitler's favor. So we're gonna take Göring since we want planes. Very nice. I'm also gonna start fitting in some research technology since we want all the rubber and fuel we can get. Another agent captured. At least he gets captured right as the first one is gonna get uncaptured. No, killed. He's gonna get killed. Same thing. But it is what it is. It's okay. Historic day for Germany. What could this be? Oh, yes, thank you very much. Nom, 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 nom. This is all a core, so we don't have to worry about compliance here. We have so much PP, I'm gonna do Institute Press censorship. Again, a bit more party popularity without any of the downsides from improved working conditions. I'm gonna put an early version of our flame tank into production that we can later convert again into something better. For these support company tanks, you want to maximize the stats you get from them, for example like breakthrough. So we're gonna put in interleave wheels and extra ammunition storage. This is what it's gonna be. Again, 4 armor because we're converting it later. And yeah, 2 factories. Spain is done. Oh, at least 1 Spain. Optimized Reich service has been done. Can we get 5 big booms? We now have these buttons that we can press that give us extra construction speed. So we're gonna take a look at where we're building right now. We're gonna build infrastructure in Rhineland. So we got the dam. I actually should have done that a bit earlier. We're also gonna press the button for develop Western Germany because this one has the best stats right now. And then we're gonna do develop Central Germany. The ball bearing trade from Sweden is always worth it when you're doing tanks or air. The production cost is really amazing, so yes. And now Spain is finally done with everything. So we can send our dude right here along with Hunter and Kuka. Technological breakthrough. We could be starting to build mechanized right now. This is what you should do in multiplayer, but we are not gonna do it, as I said before. Another thing we're not gonna do. Another ass fucking. We're gonna go for more armor next. We also want to take the engine after that. And Romania has the plane, improved airforce. Again, we're not going to even license it for the research bonus. But if you want the mod where your allies are competent, the AI is harder, but your allies are competent as well. So this mod is two-sided. It's just that we're not using the competence of our allies. This is how our production looks, by the way, right now. We have 40 on medium tanks, 10 on guns, same things we had before on basically everything. And then we're going to put a lot more into close air support. When you get the option to set up Slovakia as a puppet state, you used to want to do that, but now with the new update, you can actually annex all of Czechoslovakia and you will still get max compliance everywhere, which is 50%. But now I'm going to take Goebbels next. In the occupied territories, we want to set it on civilian oversight. It has the best compliance growth, and since we have high compliance already, we don't really care about the resistance since the compliance lowers it. And more compliance also means more factories, more resources, more manpower, all very good. Our industry is looking good. In early 1938, we're making 17 medium tanks per day, 2.13 armor memes, and 2.68 tank destroyers. Goebbels has demonstrated strong ambition and gained influence within the party. Baba Booey is what we call this. And since we do need Hess and we do need Göring, Tut is, you gotta go, Tut. You are a bit stinky around these parts. So bye-bye, Tut. Bye-bye. Everyone say bye-bye. Bye-bye, Tut. We want to have all of these focuses finished before the war starts, because when we abandon MIFO builds, we also lose all of the debuff consumer goods we get here. Otherwise, if we took it after abandoning MIFO builds, we would still get all the debuffs. We also want the air focuses for the air research speed, but for now I'm gonna take the army focus that lets us grind Henschel faster so we get more funds. So we don't have to worry about getting all of these in time. We already have 1k tank destroyers in stockpile. With our veteran soldiers, we're gonna get a few veteran tanks out to really bust through the allies. Not so good against the Soviets though, with their crazy amounts of infantry. Once the project finishes, we're gonna put 3 factories on armored support vehicles with the Henschel designer, of course. Prioritize the 4-year plan has been completed by Göring, giving us extra local available resources in Hanover and Oberösterreich. So make sure to build your refineries there. You can see with all the bonuses stacked up, we are building 1 military factory every 24 days. Let's start training up some more converts that we're gonna then convert into our tanks. We don't have enough infantry equipment to also make normal divisions, so this is going to be our stand-in for our infantry as well. It's going to be good enough to hold the line while we encircle with our tanks. To get the refinery construction going, we're going to take coal liquefaction, but after that, we're not going to take the other ones. We're going to go for the research bonuses for the air stuff. Extensive conscription. We're gonna get everyone. Get out of school. You don't need school. Go to the fucking recruiter's office, okay? You get a fucking Hellcat and some shit. Since Germany doesn't have a theories to reduce the cost of land doctrines, they only have it for mobile warfare, and we don't want mobile warfare. Mobile warfare, bad. Very bad. Not good at all. The best doctrine for tanks is Grand Battle Plan Left because of the massive planning bonuses it gives you. This also unlocks a very good spirit called Logistical Focus, giving us minus 10% supply consumption and minus 10% navy and air fuel consumption. Very nice, as some say. And our general has finally gotten all the traits he wants after spending some time in Nanjing. Don't ask what the Germans did in Nanjing. Bad things. But those bad things gave our general the confidence and motivation that the next time he attacks over a river, he will do a bit better. The level 2 traits we want is Combined Arms Expert for extra motorized and mechanized defense and Fortress Buster, so again we can bust through the Maginot. They won't know what's coming for them. France is gonna be like, Belgium, please let us into your country so we can make a defensive line. And Belgium is like, no. And France is like, oh, you've doomed us. No, France, we're coming straight through the front door. For the Field Marshal, it's gonna be Combined Arms Expert again and more max planning. Aggressive Assaulter is good, but since we have a lot of medium tanks, we don't really need the extra breakthrough, so we're gonna take Logistics Wizard for minus supply consumption. And also turn Federer Bock into a Combined Arms Specialist, so we can put him in as an advisor for our military, giving us extra mechanized, motorized attack and defense. But just because our general has all these traits, it doesn't mean he can't have some fun. You know, people pay money to come to China and he's just doing it for free. So we're gonna let him grind his elo and get better stats. When the Swiss Confederation seeks trade agreements with the German Reich, you want to take the production bonuses instead of the consumer goods. After you get Radio 2 and can speak through magic boxes far away, or back in my day we used to use telegram with wires and shit. But enough tomfoolery, we're now gonna get gun 2s. These are things you shoot bullets out of. Mr. Rudolph has rallied the industrialist, giving us plus 15% funds gain, but really importantly, military industrial organization research bonus plus 15%, which practically means we get plus 15% research speed on anything we put an MIO on. So that's very good for basically everything. The Chinese are trying to escape, which is a no-no. That's a no-no. You need to take it like a champ. You need to have better positioning. If you don't position yourself, well, this is what happens. So we're gonna pin them here so they can't run away. And then we're gonna just streamline into Hangzhou, into Shanghai, and all of these dudes will be trapped forever. Oh no, that's fine, that's fine. With Hangzhou gone, they're starting to feel it, although there's only 3 of them here. This is the most pathetic encirclement ever. But we take these, we take these. Comparison is the thief of joy. Since we're gonna be using a lot of CAS, I'm gonna take the battlefield support air doctrine. We're gonna take the cutting corners policy once our Henschel gets to 6 trade points. This lowers our production cost by minus 10%, letting us produce more base tanks, but it also lowers our stats. But this doesn't matter since we're gonna convert the tanks later on anyway, and by that time we're gonna switch the policy anyway. After we get their bonuses, we're gonna keep going on their resources. We're gonna keep rushing down the anti-tank even though it's out of time, so we can get the heavy cannon 2 by the time we invade France. Another research we have to get done before the war is conversion tech, so we can actually convert all of our stuff. Once we can get the refinery concern, giving us refinery construction speed, we're gonna stop building our mills and start building refineries, prioritizing the good states first. We get the efficiency cap bonus from Göring, and if you take a look at the production lines that have been running all this time, they're almost 100% efficiency, and the new ones are growing very fast. Like, imagine if we built civs all this time and just now started building mills. Like, we already basically have all of our military production done for the war. It's almost at max efficiency and it's just gonna keep growing. For the Daimler brands, we're gonna put on heavy gantry grains so we can put it on heavy tanks as well. We want to train these comrades to the max as well, so they get all the combat modifiers from being trained. I'm not gonna go for our army focuses that give us bonuses to our tank divisions and Erwin Rommel as a military high command. Research can be kind of scuffed sometimes when you're doing everything by yourself and taking no help from your allies. So overall, I'm just trying to get our main air research done now and also take advanced equipment conversion. It doesn't line up perfectly with everything. For example, we're gonna get the engines way before we get the improved small airframe. But overall, we're gonna get our planes and that's what matters. We're gonna get our conversion technology done a few months before we go for dancing, and that's all the time we need. Next up, I'm going for the bribe senior officers and the autonomy focus. This gives us a land doctrine cost reduction so we can get our doctrine done. We also want to get field hospital and logistics company, and now that we have gun 2, I am just gonna switch the production line. It's not the ideal, but it's gonna work out fine. We can't really afford multiple production lines on guns right now. We're gonna use our PP to take some army advisors. It's gonna be Armor Genius and our Combined Arms Expert. No! China has capitulated 1 point away from reaching level 6. We take a look at the France industry, you can see they have 148 civs and 142 mills, while this is our puny German industry. So they have more mills and more civs than us. We still have a few months left before we have to take our Poland focuses, so we're gonna take trade deal with Sweden, since we are gonna have to trade with them a lot anyway. We're producing close to 40 medium tanks and 5 armor memes and 5 heavy tank destroyers. See, with the civilian oversight, their compliance has grown to 66% and their resistance is basically basically zero. Again, giving us 80% of the factories and 91% of their resources. For the plain MIO, you want modular assembly policy, giving you minus 5% production cost. This directly influences the cost of your plane, which makes it better than the 5% extra cap. In an ideal world, you would actually get the research bonus policy much earlier, so you can research the air stuff much faster as well. But since it's going to take 180 days to switch policies, I'm just going to say screw it. We're going to get them soon enough anyway, and just leave it at that. We also want to research the heavy machine guns and the armor plates from these two researches. A thing you could have done is grind the Focke-Wulf MIO faster, giving you extra research speed on air, letting you get all of that stuff faster. But since we need to get all of this stuff, we need the conversion, we need the heavy tank guns, we need all the radios. It's, in single player, it might be kind of hard to juggle all of these things. Now, if you went for a no tanks build, it's definitely worth it. But it's all choices you can make. Swiss Gold, don't mind if I do. As the end is nearing, this is gonna be our last focus before we go for Poland. Reassert eastern claims and then Danzig. Only after which we're going for Molotov-Ribbentrop. Yes, after the war, not before. If we don't take it at all, the Soviets are gonna clap our cheeks while we're busy with France. Engine 3 is done. As you might have noticed, I haven't researched any mechanized yet since we are going for the Amtracks. It's not really viable to go for Amtracks and mechanized both, since we only have one research bonus in our focus tree. But otherwise, if you weren't going for the Amtracks, you would be producing mechanized from early on in the game. Henschel is done, so we don't need cutting corners anymore. We're gonna go for extra armor for armor memes. And now we're going to switch out all of these production lines to have the Daimler-Benz MIO. Big production bonuses we have here. But to get enough Amtracks out for the Soviet war, we are going to research mechanized now. This is going to be our tank destroyer template with the heavy cannon 2 and radio 2s. Of course, we max out the engine and armor clicks. And now we are converting 10 tank destroyers per day. Lithuania gives us Memel, improved small airframe is done. So we now have the facilities to create our best air design. On top, we obviously want the 3 heavy machine guns, but down bottom, it's an option between 2 armor plates or 1 armor plate and 1 extra fuel tank. Now, since we have the Focke-Wulf MIO, I am going to go for 2 armor plates. It is going to trade a bit better and we should have enough range, especially for the AI. And this is going to be our new CAS design. Sadly, as I said before, switching these production lines loses us most of that efficiency, but we're going to come out on top eventually. 50 factories on the fighters right now, and I'm also going to pull back on the close air support for now, so we can jumpstart our fighter production. And we want to start building mills again. So how do we do the fancy trick to turn these dudes into our tanks without losing any of that veteran experience? Well, you're going to take that same division and you got to edit it. Not convert it, edit it. So I made a duplicate of this division, so we don't edit all of our convert templates right now. And we're going to take the convert template and we're going to make it into our tank template. Good support companies we want is an assault engineer company that gives us good stats on different terrains. And the same goes for the medium flame tankany, which also gives us good stats on different terrains. Our field hospital for extra HP, trickleback and experience loss protection. Logistics company for logistics, and a light armored recon company, which gives us plus 10% heart attack. Very nice. 9 tank destroyers and 9 motorized to give us a nice 36 width tank. This is basically the best tank width. It fits into every tile perfectly, or rather for a tank, perfect means a little bit over the combat width because the extra stats outweigh the debuff you get from being over combat width. You can exceed the combat width in a battle up to 33%, which is why the only tiles these tanks don't fit into is, for example, marshes and mountains. But you don't really want to use tanks on mountains and marshes anyway. At least not let them chill there because they attrition a lot. Next step is you gotta turn off all the equipment in this template. Now we gotta duplicate this template and turn all the equipment on. Now when we take these dudes who don't have equipment and convert them into tanks that do have equipment, they retain all of the experience. Wait, let me change the picture on these dudes. Any moment now. Bababooey. Put these 2 dudes to help out in the encirclements here in Poland. We're gonna put them on a garrison order so we can micro them and they don't assign automatically to any battle plans, but they still get the planning bonus if they're next to a field marshal battle plan order, even if they're not assigned to it. Keep grinding out those tank destroyers. We just need enough for the France war. We can handle Poland. Plus, with all the collaborations we've done, Poland should fall over pretty easily. But set up the massive amount of close air support we've been building. A big portion might be shut down because we don't have air superiority, but it's still worth it. We have a lot of allies on our borders, but we're not going to call them into the war, so they can't really do anything. And in 5 days, we will be at war. I've saved up a lot of PP, and I'm going to show you a magic trick how you can lose all of your PP in 1 day. Stay tuned for that. Let's hope we don't get pushed by these heavy tanks on the French border. Otherwise, it's aye. Let's just put a few more CAS, just in case. Poland refuses German ultimatum. We want to get continuous strike for more air support mission efficiency before the war. Once we get fighters, we're gonna go for a centralized control though, because it gives you fighter detection which makes you detect more fighters, believe it or not. Much better for dogfighting. Same here with quick improvisation. I'm gonna take this after we attack France, since I'm gonna need the commander abilities. Also, let's go down the tree as much as we can here. Also gonna build an aerodynamics and avionics facility so we can research the helicopters and radios and stuff. Radar, so we can bomb the British and Allied Navy better. Despite our peaceful attempts, Poland still refuses. They'll see. Boyos, you know what time it is. We are going to war. But before we move into Poland, we have to make a decision. Do we abandon MIFO bills? The second option is Economy of Conquest. That doesn't give you any debuffs on the front end, but it does mean we have to start conquering lands very quickly, and we basically have to win the war or get autarko. If we don't, we get big debuffs. For the consumer goods, when we go total mob, we have war bonds, we have so many bonuses, it isn't gonna matter at all basically. So when you abandon MIFO builds here, you're basically getting minus 10% factory output for long-term safety. So in case we get bogged down anywhere, I want to take that option just in case. And in the spirit of not taking any of our allies' help, I'm not taking Romania or Portugal or any European country to finish autarko. Plus, all of these bonuses right here will also apply to recovering economy once we take them. We're also going to lose Hjalmar's Nacht here, so we're going to replace him with the Reich Minister of Economy. And let's also take war bonds for minus 20% consumer goods. This puts our total at 15%, which is quite respectable. Once we get total mobilization, it's going to get even better. Let's just try to methodically destroy as many Polish troops as we can here, taking over the Danzig pocket and freeing up more troops on the front line. The Poles are using mass mob infantry with guerrilla tactics, which is a tactic that's usually banned in multiplayer games because of how broken it is. It lowers the combat width by 50% and the damage on both the attacker and the defender. Although 70% less damage on a tank division is much heavier than 60% less damage on an infantry division. This just exists to slog down the entire war, but it's still not enough against our tanks who have both 2000 hard attack and soft attack. Now imagine if we had heavy cannon 3 on these. They do have air superiority and they are gonna bomb us, which it is what it is. We're gonna try to mitigate it as much as possible. We're gonna use our infantry to pin down all these dudes so they don't escape from the pocket. And we have both Poznan and Danzig encircled now. Make sure your navy is not training anymore, otherwise they're gonna get cooked. Bye bye. We're actually pretty weak right now, which is what happens when you try to do everything by yourself. So we're gonna ramp up really quickly from now. And the last Danzig units are gone as well. So now we have a nice continuous front line that we can easily push from. Oh no, mod, our worst enemy. This kind of makes our tanks pretty weak. When you get a mod modifier, you get a lot of debuffs. Not good at all. And they're pushing us here. Although we do have better stats, we don't have unlimited organization, so we do have to keep that in mind. A word of warning from the General Staff that the Soviets might attack us, but don't worry, the Ribbentrop pack is going to be done soon, so we're safe on that front. And that's 11 more divisions down the drain for the Polish. Once Molotov Ribbentrop finishes, we're gonna go for the industry focuses again. And Daimler-Benz is basically finished now as well. Another victory for the fatherland, so now we push for Krakow. And Poland should capitulate any day now. More infantry equipment is always welcome, but now we gotta go head to head with the real beast in this mod. We're gonna need to convert some more tanks. Yes, we will obey by the treaty and give away half of Poland. Even with 60% compliance, Poland still has pretty nasty resistance growth. Now this seems pretty tough. They have heavy infantry here with all the right support equipments and signal companies for the reinforce rate and heavy tanks on every tile. We're gonna need to put all the close air support we can over the Maginot. We can take one more Doctrine before we go for the Maginot that gives us the tactic called Breakthrough, which is exactly what we need because it's one of the best attacking tactics in the game. But before we attack, we have to wait for our tanks to get max planning, which is 80%. Okay, they're all maxed out. Now I can show you what you can do when you stack all of these modifiers together. When we take all 4 of our tanks and we put on siege artillery, and then we attack from 4 different directions, we get real Ooga Booga stats, even fighting against level 10 forts. So sadly the French can't hold on for long and we take over this tile pretty quickly. We push the advantage and try to take as many tiles as we can. We should get Strasbourg as well. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you bust through the Maginot. At this point in time, I'm also going to go for more cap in our production. We also have enough PP to take total mobilization. This also lowers our recruitable population, but luckily we have this decision here called Women in the Workforce. Very nice. Instead of bashing ourselves into the rest of these forts, I'm going to try to encircle them. Before we go for the rest of the production focuses, I think it's important that we get the Amtracks out, so I'm going to go for the research bonus here. And when our tanks are reorged again, we can go back on the offensive. We use force attack to make attacking these normal tiles much easier for us. With the troops France is losing here in the encirclements, it's going to make pushing into the mainland much easier for us. We're going to pump out a lot of these simple infantry divisions. They're not the best, but we need something to fill out the front lines against the Soviets other than our medium tanks. And we don't have the resources to build that many good infantry divisions. The Maginot has completely fallen now, and we've encircled another 40 divisions. Now it's just a matter of time before we walk into Paris. Oh, our tank might get encircled here. although they have a port, so they still have supply. We can break them out. These are the recovering economy stats, and these are our consumer goods. As you can see, it has a minimum cap of 10%, so we're not getting any debuffs from consumer goods. The only bottleneck we have is our tanks organization, so we have to wait a bit before pushing again, and Paris will fall. Bye bye. Alright, welcome, I mean. And after Paris, they seem to be retreating everywhere, probably trying to get their troops out safe. This is gonna be the design for our heavy tank with max armor. Just put all the armor stuff on it, and let's start converting those as well. But yeah, I think France is capitulating now. Let's see, 38%. You know, because they have cores on all of Africa, it's much harder to take all the victory points you need. Now, could have this been easier? Yes, we could have gone through the Benelux, but I just wanted to show you that Maginot. France has capitulated. Only Free France left, who still has quite an impressive industry left, if I do say so myself. And now we have a lot of factories on air, which is exactly what we wanted. Although we do have to put a lot on these Amtracks once we get them. Let's take a look at the resistance here. Yeah, this is gonna go down, and we get 80% of their factories and resources. If you got like 1 year of war left, it's also good to go harsh quotas. It gives you more factories in the short term, while lowering your compliance long term. Goebbels has completed a propaganda master, so now we can take loyalty to the Führer, giving us even more bonuses. We take the Netherlands and go for Belgium and Luxembourg. In the meantime, we also got Amtracks researched, so we're gonna lower the production cost with Army XP as much as possible and put a ton of factories on these bad boys. Bye bye Belgium. I'm gonna set up air over the North Sea because air supremacy also gives you up to 100% more naval supremacy, and we're gonna need that to invade Norway. Now with Denmark, they're gonna surrender immediately. We could still take all of their factories and conquer them, but I think the supply bonuses we get by puppeting them are much better. I'm also gonna do naval department because not having enough naval intelligence can lower your naval supremacy. When we look at the Soviet production, they kinda have a head start on us on producing planes since they licensed all their stuff, while we kinda just started. Once we research the improved medium howitzer, this is gonna be our medium tank final design. Instead of how we base, this is gonna be our how we based. This makes us convert 36 medium tanks per day. These focuses are really good for your division attack. You can see all the bonuses we get here. But before that, I want to take nationalized Ford Industries. This way we unlock the production bonuses on our automotive designer, so we can get more Amtracks out. When we declare on Norway, we're not going to use the useful collaborator, we're going to take all of the land ourselves. I'm going to put as much as our close air support and fighters over Norway, so we won't have any problems there. When we land, we have to take Oslo immediately, ensuring that we have supply through the naval port. We do want to switch back to organization thought once we start building mills again, and also click all the decisions for construction speed. And with the Ford focus done, we can put the extra output and cap on our Opel designer. So we're making 44 Amtracks per day. Norway is literally one city away from capitulating, and there it is. Now that the other Axis allies can't really help us anymore, I'm gonna call them into the war just so the allies can take over Africa and start harassing Southern Europe. Keep in mind to train your fighters before sending them into battle. The stats increase is very important. I didn't have time for it before because we really needed their supremacy, but now I'm gonna start training all of our fighters. The Italians really aren't having a good time here. Now our allies decided to attack Greece, so we do gotta help them out here. Otherwise we're gonna have the whole US and UK army there in a few months. In the focus tree, we're just trying to get all the straggling bonuses we have left. With the allies doing very strong D-Day attacks in this mod, we're gonna send all of our heavy tanks here to defend it. But it's time for the epic Amtrack medium tanks now. We're gonna convert all 59 of these dudes. As you can see on the composition here, we are 50% special forces. This means we get half the special forces attack bonus for our whole unit. Not just the Amtrack battalions, the whole unit gets the bonus. Right now it's still 0, but once we get the commando dude and the good doctrines that give us special forces attack, that's gonna turn into 30%. Which half of is 15%, so our whole tank unit will get 15% more attack. The design is basically the same as our heavy tank, except we're putting in on heavy tank armor meme and changing the armored recon company for rangers. We don't need the heart attack here from the armored recon company, so the rangers are just more stats for us. We're gonna have to spam out a lot of divisions though to raise our special forces cap. Now this isn't like a make or break type deal. If you just went only mechanized and no Amtracks and you didn't do any of this spamming divisions and trying to raise the cap thing, you would still basically have similar tanks. This is just to show you what you can do when you're using all the mechanics in the game. To get an extra Special Forces Doctrine, we're gonna have to do this focus right here that gives us one free Special Forces branch specialism. When you're enabling the equipment for your final tank template, make sure you don't use the base version of your tank. You only want converted versions. Otherwise you're gonna have tanks in your units that have 0 guns. You can see how much armor the armor meme gives us. If you take it away for a moment, it goes from 96 to 48 armor. So that's basically half of our armor just from that. This is a quick look on our current industry. We have a lot of factories on air, which is the most important thing. I also got the research that gives us heavy bomb locks. This allows us to make our close air support a bit better, so I'm gonna switch it around. To prepare for the Soviet war, we have to build up air bases all along the border and build up the supply here as well. Once we get the extra doctrine, you want to go right side to get this focus right here that gives plus 10% special forces attack. We are now at 120%, which is basically an extra 20%. Only the Mountaineer doctrine left to do to get that final 10%. And we're converting all of our tanks now. We have 59 medium tanks ready for war. Also going to convert all of our heavy tanks to have Amtracks and armor beams. We built up the air bases and supply, so I'm now going to put up all of our planes here. And the Soviets have cancelled our non-aggression pact. But with our air up, our infantry ready to hold and our tanks ready to push, I think it is the time. Let's declare war without any of our allies. We're gonna see just how good our tanks are on the offensive. We have intel advantage, we have planning bonus, we have good general stats, but we're not stupid. I'm not gonna attack any of these mountain tiles with massive amounts of infantry in them. The Soviets do have a lot of planes though. Luckily we outtrade them and have better range. With our CAS, we're cutting through them like butter. I think these tanks might be too good. Might have overkilled here a bit. I have no idea how the Soviets are gonna cope with these encirclements and all these massive losses. They're already at 1.8 million casualties. Every encirclement we destroy here is hundreds of thousands of men dead. This attack is huge. We're getting 4,600 soft attack. My question is, how are we gonna get to the allies? We don't have a navy. Even if we destroy the Soviets, we still can't cross the English Channel. The British have over 600 ships. Let me introduce you to our good friend, Naval Bomber. The best naval bomber is actually a heavy fighter. With this design, we can put 2 torpedoes instead of 1 and we can have very good range. 50 factories for now should do. The United States joins the war, and the Soviet casualties are already at 4 million, while we are only at 460,000. Kiev falls, it's just over. It was over for the Soviets before it even began. Our real enemy is the supply, which we are getting bogged down by. Oh, what? Oh my lord. I did not notice this, guys. I did not notice. I was like, why the hell are they decrypting? Are they breaking my cipher right now? I'm like, look at D-Day. I'm like, oh shit. So luckily, our tanks are still here. They have a lot of mechanized and tanks probably around here. So I am a bit worried here. Here we can stabilize once I pull some infantry from the Soviet front. And also a few mediums. Let's do 7 medium tanks. But it's important we set up air here. And we should be okay, because yeah, they have Amtrack battalions, they are coming in heavy. The Soviets and Finns are gonna have to wait a bit until we stabilize the and they're also being naval invaded in Italy. Moscow has fallen, so even though we have some trouble with the allies, the Soviet front is doing pretty okay. All we need is to contain these dudes. Liberation of Paris, I guess. Eventually our tanks get the job done, although with some difficulty. The planes really help. For a little payback, I don't like what they did to us, so I'm gonna show the British Navy who's the boss here. We're gonna take all of our fighters and put it up over the English Channel. This also gives us air detection, and air detection helps you spot the enemy ships. This lets our naval bombers be much more effective. We have a lot of tanks here now. I don't think they're gonna do the same sneaky business again. Oh, so we're actually fighting here. Okay. In that case, let's put even more air up. This little pocket is still holding on here. Since we have radar, we might as well build some here, just so we get some more air detection. Yeah, their lines are just empty here for the Soviets. And we finally take Stalingrad as well. One final push and the Soviet Union is 1% away from capitulating. It's completely over. Let's just annex all of it. Except Finland, they can stay a puppet. With the 75% compliance, we are getting 283 factories from the Soviets. But now we don't have enough rubber. With the eastern flank secured, we're putting our full attention on the allies. So we're gonna build thousands of naval bombers. We have 11,000 planes in this one tile. But we can do better. We use the right side doctrine here to get more naval targeting on our naval bombers. Who wins? 10 big ships or 100 small planes? We also naval bomb the Mediterranean, so we can have a sea lane ready for us to naval invade Northern Africa. But they're not giving up. They're just bashing into us with their Amtrack armor divisions again and again, trying to retake northern France. But it's gonna be very hard for them to push out our entrenched tanks. I severely underestimated their Northern Africa defense. Our naval invasion is dead here. So we're gonna take Malta with our Amtrack tanks so we can use the airbase there for better air support over Northern Africa. Not looking good again, even with the Malta air support. So I think we're gonna need our heavy tanks for this. Rest in peace, medium tanks. I'm gonna convert some of our heavy tanks into this marine tank that are much better at naval invading. I'm gonna pivot away for a moment and actually take Corsica and Sardinia first. We're invading mountain tile, so it's gonna be a bit tougher, and look at the amount of troops they got here. Luckily, there's so many that are actually attritioning. With the massive air advantage, we still land here. Next up is Corsica, and we then go for Tunisia. After we get our foothold and air support up, North Africa falls pretty quickly. Once we've completely cleared out the British Navy, and the US of course as well, and set up our air to completely dominate southern England, we're gonna make our naval invasion happen. And this isn't too shabby. Take a look at the defense the Allies have built up here. They have so many mechanized and armored divisions here. But again, once we've already landed, there's not much they can do. We take Britain, take over Iceland and Greenland, and set our sights on the big man. While I'm attacking the east coast, I get a bit lazy and lose naval supremacy in Europe, so we get naval invaded in France. I took away all of my tanks here, so we gotta convert some dudes and scramble some tanks quickly. By the time we've taken care of this, we've also taken over half of the United States, and soon enough, everything has fallen. Love you guys, hope you learned something, and again, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Click the links in the description now to play on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile. New and returning players who haven't played in 6 months will receive massive bonuses for PC and consoles, including premium vehicles, free doubloons, and 7 days of premium account. Very nice.